Arjuna and Krishna and Bhima, they put on the simple dress of a Brahmana, you know, no sewn cloth. They didn't look like Kshatriyas. They put on the dress of the Brahmana, and they went to see Jarasandha. And so because they were in the dress of Brahmanas, they were brought in before Jarasandha. And Jarasandha saw them, and he was looking at them. He was thinking, these are funny looking Brahmanas. Because usually Brahmanas are, you know, weak and thin. And there's Bhima, you know, huge, giant, very strong, you know. And Arjuna is also Kshatriya, Maharati. And he could see also they have marks on their shoulders where they carry their weapons. Because the Kshatriyas, they carry weapons like bows and things like that. So there's marks on their shoulders. And he was looking, these are Brahmanas, you know. Not only that, not only did they not look, but when they spoke, their voices were like thunder. You know, when the king speaks, you know, everyone is controlled because they have that Ishwara Bhav. Ishwara Bhav, one of the qualities of the Kshatriyas. Ishwara Bhav, the power to control others. You know, some people have that Ishwara Bhav. You know, they speak, you know, and they speak with so much authority, very powerfully, you know. So Bhima and Arjuna and Krishna, they were a bit like that, you know. The Jarasandha could understand these people. What kind of Brahmanas are these? But anyway, they came to him for charity. And so then he said, yeah, what do you want? And so then they said, we would like a fight. We want a fight. We want to fight you. And then they revealed who they were, that this was Bhima and Arjuna and Krishna. And they're the enemies. They're the enemies of Jarasandha. So Jarasandha said, oh, he said, I'm not going to fight Krishna. He ran away the last time I fought him. Right? Krishna is called Ranchor. There's a famous temple in Gujarat, Ranchor Krishna. Did you go there? Did you see Ranchor? Ranchorji? Krishna is famous. Krishna's got some unusual names, right? Makkanchor, you know, the butter thief, and Ranchor, one who ran away from the battlefield. So Krishna's got these different names for his different pastimes. So Jarasandha said, I'm not going to fight Krishna. He ran away from me the last time I fought him. He's Ranchor. I'm not going to fight him. And he said, Arjuna, he won't give me a very good fight. He's not strong enough for me. Jarasandha was very powerful. And he said, this Arjuna, I don't think he'd be a good fight for me. It'd be too easy for me. He said, well, I will fight Bhim. I think he can give me a good fight. I will fight with him. So it was arranged. Jarasandha and Bhima would fight with each other. So, of course, it was a big fight. And Bhima couldn't get the better of Jarasandha. And they were fighting and fighting for many days. And nobody could win. But then Krishna, he is omniscient. He knows everything. And he knows all the tricks. So he took a twig. And he ripped it down the middle. He ripped it in half. And he told him, he said, you know Jarasandha? Jarasandha, the name means who was joined by the witch Jara. That this child Jarasandha was actually born in two halves. There were two halves at birth. And they were thrown away. He was actually the son of a king, a Kshatriya king. But when the two halves were born, they thought, this is useless, two halves. And they just threw them away. But the two halves were found by this witch, Jara. And this witch, Jara, joined the two halves together. And this way Jarasandha got the life by the grace of this witch, Jara. So Krishna gave the secret to Bhima. He took that twig, he ripped it down the middle, bifurcated it. And so Bhima understood. So he went to fight Jarasandha, and he grabbed one foot and knocked him down. And then with one foot, he was holding one foot down on the ground, with the other foot, he ripped him apart, right down the middle. His whole body ripped in two. So there was one earring, half a crown, like that. It ripped him right down the middle. And so that way Bhima managed to defeat Jarasandha. And so all of these different things, this had to be done for the Rajasuya sacrifice. And what does Krishna do for the Rajasuya sacrifice? Lord Krishna, he took the service to wash everyone's feet. Everyone who was coming to the Rajasuya sacrifice, Lord Krishna would personally wash their feet. This is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can understand what amazing qualities he must have, that he can perform all of these different activities. So Lord Krishna, he did the service, and then they had to perform the Agra Puja, and they had to select the person who was the most worshipable. So at that time, some of the devotees, they suggested Krishna, that Krishna was the most worshipable person. But Sishupala was there, and Sishupal became furious when he heard this. He got really angry because, remember, Krishna had stolen Rukmini, who was supposed to be the wife of Sishupal. So Sishupal was also very opulent and very powerful, almost on the level of Lord Krishna. Because Sishupal, remember in his previous life, who was he? Who was Sishupal in his previous life? Huh? Yes, yeah, there were three. They had to take 3 births, right? There was Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and then Ravan, Kumbhakarna, and then the 3rd birth, Sishupal and Dantavarka. And so, Sishupal was born in a royal family, very opulent, because he'd been killed in the previous life by Lord Ramachandra. So he was, the next birth he took, it was in great opulence. And he was born in this family, and he was almost equal to Krishna, right? Almost as powerful as Krishna. Very strong, but not quite equal to Krishna. Almost equal to. So he was always overshadowed by Krishna. If you have like that, maybe when you study, there's somebody who always beats you, You're always second, and this guy always beats me. He's always got better grades than me. Every subject, he beats me. You think, you get this person, you can never beat him. So Sishupal was like that. He could never defeat Krishna. And so when they suggested that Krishna should be worshipped, then Sishupal really went berserk, and he stood up and he started to yell, no, he's a cowherd boy. You don't understand his origin. This person, Krishna, no, for goodness sake, why you would worship this person, he's a low-class character. He's not a king, he's not from a royal family or anything. And he was going on and complaining and committing offenses against Krishna. And so at that time then Krishna had to decapitate him with the help of his Sudarshan chakra. Krishna removed the head of Sishupal. And then After that, then it was possible only to do the Rajasuya Yagya. So because Maharaj Yudhisthira did these yagyas, so he enjoyed great opulence. His opulence was so great that all the demigods couldn't believe the opulence of Maharaj Yudhisthira. But Maharaj Yudhisthira wasn't attached to the opulence. He saw it all as the grace of Krishna. And all the opulence which was there in his kingdom, which was envied even by the demigods, it was all for the service of Krishna. And he recognized that all belongs to Krishna. So in this way, Maharaj Yudhisthira and the Pandavas, they were so exalted devotees that they were worshipped even by the spiritual teachers of the Paramahamsas. Even the Paramahamsas means the swan-like personalities. So these swan-like, these people who are so-called Paramahamsas, they're not always Paramahamsas. They may name themselves, they may be called like that as Paramahamsa, but they're often full of faults. Sometimes they're very much attached to their own name and fame. They're attached to position and they want honor. Just like Durvasa. We saw Durvasa, he had problems. Although Durvasa was very powerful, he was a sannyasi, he was a guru, he had many disciples. Everyone feared him. So Durvasa got envious of Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was the king. And Durvasa Muni thought, why everybody respects him? Ambarish Maharaj, he's just a king. He's just a materialistic person. We know Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a sannyasi, was so strict, he wouldn't meet Maharaj Prataparudra. He said, no, I cannot meet a king. He's a worldly person. And that was 500 years ago only. Durvasa and Maharaj Ambarish, that was thousands of years ago. But even 500 years ago, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to meet Maharaj Prataparudra because he's a worldly personality. He said, it will be a stain on my character. And he said, just like if you have a white cloth and you have one stain on the cloth, then the whole cloth is ruined. Right? You get one stain on your cloth. Maybe when you're taking pomegranate, you get the pomegranate juice on your shirt or on your dhoti, ruined. You never get the stain out. Right? So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I cannot meet this Prataparudra, a worldly person, a king. Because Mahaprabhu was such a strict sannyasi, he did not want to meet him. Of course, the devotees, they were telling him, well, he's really a good person, he's really a devotee. He may be a king, but he's really a devotee. And when Maharaj Prataparudra heard that Lord Chaitanya wouldn't meet him, Maharaj Prataparudra is ready to give up the kingdom. And he's ready to go and just become like a gypsy. And put an ivory earring on, indicating that he has given up the material world. So they were worried, they wanted Maharaj Prataparudra to remain the king because he was a good king. He was Krishna conscious. So they wanted him to keep the king, to be the ruler. He was very kind. When Mahaprabhu came, all the devotees would come from Mayapur. Maharaj Prataparudra ordered, make arrangements for them all, give them accommodation, make sure they all get prasadam. So that's the kind of king you want, right? You go there to the kingdom and the king is saying, welcome, and gives you a place to stay and gives you prasadam. And when we go, go to the holy, when we go to the holy places, it should be like that, actually. Because nowadays it's, how much can you pay? Do you want to stay in the Lotus building? Can't you? So, anyway, Maharaj Prataparudra, finally, he, with the help of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, they directed him how he could get the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, he had to disguise himself. He had to give up his royal robes and put on the simple dress of a Vaishnava. And in this way, he could come to be near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Durvasa Muni, he was envious of Maharaj Ambarish. That this Ambarish, he was so popular. All the people in the kingdom loved him because he was such a great king, so magnanimous. And he encouraged all the people. And he had a nice temple. And he had everything he did was in Krishna consciousness. He let his ministers run the country, and he would be at the temple all day. So Durvasa Muni, he was jealous of Maharaj Ambarish, and he tried to give trouble. But when he tried to give trouble to Maharaj Ambarish, he got trouble. Right? He created some demon. He created something to burn Maharaj Ambarish, but the Sudarshan Chakra came. And the Sudarshan Chakra destroyed this thing which Durvasa Muni had created. And it came after Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni fled. And he fled all the way. He went to Lord Brahma, save me, this Sudarshan Chakra is chasing me. Lord Brahma said, I can't do anything to help you. And he went to Lord Shiva. And he asked Lord Shiva, save me, this Sudarshan Chakra is chasing me, it's going to burn me. But Lord Shiva said, I can't help you, I can't do anything. And he went into Vaikuntha. Durvasa Muni was such a powerful yogi, he could go all the way out of the universe into the spiritual world. And he went to Lord Narayan in the spiritual world. And he, Lord Narayan, please save me, this Sudarshan Chakra is coming. Lord Narayan said, I cannot help you. He said, what? He said, it's your Sudarshan Chakra. You should be able to help me. But Lord Narayan said, no. He said, you have offended the devotee. Because you have offended the devotee, you have to go to the devotee and get relief from that. Lord Narayan told Durvasa Muni, the devotees are in my heart, and I am in the hearts of my devotees. Lord Narayan said, I do not know anyone else but my devotees. And my devotees don't know anything else except me. So in this way, Durvasa Muni learned a very important lesson, that he has to understand the real position of devotee. And he came back to Maharaj Ambarish and he submitted himself at the feet of Maharaj Ambarish. And Maharaj Ambarish, of course, he doesn't want Durvasa Muni at his feet. Maharaj Ambarish is a humble soul. And he picks up Durvasa Muni and said, please, please, don't embarrass me. Don't bow down to me. I'm just a worldly person. So we see these qualities among all these devotees, like Hanuman. Hanuman's thinking, well, I'm just a forest animal. I don't know anything. Of course, Hanuman is not just a forest animal. He is a great, very great devotee. And he's the pure devotee. And in the mood of Dasya Ras. So the Pandavas also, headed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, they're also very great souls. They have no material desires. And all they want is the satisfaction of Lord Krishna. Their lives are just dedicated to the service of Krishna. And so accepting the kingdom and ruling the kingdom is a service to Krishna. You have to do service to Krishna, whatever it may be. Sometimes Krishna may tell you, you have to do this, you have to sweep the floor. Sometimes Krishna may tell you, you have to be the king. You have to accept whatever position Krishna wants. A devotee doesn't really mind. All he wants is devotional service. It may be a big service, it may be a humble service. A devotee doesn't mind. That he's satisfied to have service for Krishna. That is what he wants. That is pleasing. We don't think of what we want, we think, what does Krishna want? What does Krishna want me to do? Sometimes Krishna wants you to go here, sometimes Krishna wants you to do arti, sometimes Krishna wants you to wash the pots, sometimes Krishna wants you to clean the toilet, sometimes Krishna wants you to give the class. You do whatever Krishna wants. That should be the mood of the devotee. We want to submit ourselves in service to Krishna. Surrender, right? 6 items of surrender. Anukuyasya sankalpa pratikuyasya varjanam. Rakshishashiti vishvaksho gopretve varanam tata. Atmanikshema karpanye sadvina sharanagati. So sharanagati, surrender to Krishna, means accepting everything favorable for devotional service and giving up whatever is not favorable to Krishna. Knowing that only Krishna can maintain us and knowing that only Krishna can protect us. Having no desire other than the desire of Krishna, and always feeling oneself meek and humble. Atmanikshema karpanye. These are the characteristics of surrender. And the Pandavas, they show that. Hanuman, he shows that. Narada, he shows. They're all great devotees. Life after life, birth after birth. They don't want anything else but service to Krishna. Why? Because it's so satisfying. Nothing else satisfies the soul but service to Krishna. People dream, I want to be the manager of the multinational corporation. I want to be the CEO. I want to be the whatever, big positions. It will not satisfy them. There is no happiness in the material world. Try to understand. Real happiness is not satisfying the mind and senses. Real happiness is to satisfy the soul. Our soul is satisfied when we are properly situated in service to Krishna. Kolaveka Sridhar was a very poor man, but he was very happy. He was very satisfied. He was satisfied. His income was very small. He had a few banana trees and whatever income he could get. by selling whatever grew from his banana trees, he would always use 50% to worship Mother Ganga. This is the principle, 50% for the worship of Krishna. So Kulavika Sridhar, his home was dilapidated. You know, it was broken down, holes in the roof, and so on. And his cloth was not new, it was old cloth. And even he had a pot. His pot was iron. It was not copper or steel. It was a simple old iron pot. When Lord Chaitanya came back from the Chankasi, Lord Chaitanya came back with all the devotees. They came past Sridhar's house. And Lord Chaitanya went to Sridhar's house and he got that pot and he drank the water. And Kulavika Sridhar was upset. No, no, please, don't, no, please. He didn't want Lord Chaitanya to drink the water from his old rusty iron pot. But Lord Chaitanya drank it and said, oh, nectar. Kulavika Sridhar said, I am ruined. Kulavika Sridhar considered himself to be an offender because Lord Chaitanya was drinking water from such an old pot. You know, naturally, Krishna comes, you want to give the best. You want to at least give the nice pot. But Lord Chaitanya took this old pot of Sridhar's and drank the water. And then when Lord Chaitanya was doing the 22 hours of ecstasy, when he was sitting on the Vishnu altar, at that time he told them, bring Sridhar. And they didn't know Sridhar. None of these devotees knew who Sridhar was. And they went to bring him in front of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya told Sridhar, ask any benediction you want. Whatever blessing, whatever benediction you want, tell me now. I'm ready to give you all you want. And Kulavika Sridhar said, then bless me that I can continue to do as I am doing. Whatever income I get, I spend half to worship Mother Ganga. I am happy. He said, the bird lives in his nest, and the king lives in his palace. Everyone is suffering and enjoying according to their past deeds. Why I should change anything? Just let me continue as I'm doing. So Kulavika Sridhar, such a nice example of the devotee, was very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So similarly, the Pandavas and Maharaj Yudhisthira, they're so dear to Lord Krishna because they're fully devoted to Krishna. Any questions? Comment?
He just told that whatever is going on, let it go, because karma it is going on. So sometimes I feel that according to karma something is happening, but if something else happens, it is more favorable to devotional service for my service to Krishna. So should we pray like that, or we should just let it go?
That's an interesting point you've brought up, Prabhu, because sometimes we may think, well, it's their karma. And we may think like that about the Pandavas. maybe it was their karma to be the kings and to be the rulers. It was their karma. But actually, it's not karma for the devotees. Whatever happens to the devotees, like these Pandavas and like Hanuman and so on, it's not karma, but it's the arrangement of Lord Krishna to highlight the glories of these devotees. So whatever's going on, let it go on. You say, as devotees we should think, whatever's going on, just let it go on. Actually, it will go on. It will go on by the grace of Krishna. So do we need to pray to Krishna to do something? No, if we're in difficulties, we're having problems, should we pray to Krishna? Yes, we should always remember Krishna. But we should think, a devotee will think that whatever's happening, that if I'm suffering, I should suffer more. But Krishna's reduced the suffering. A devotee thinks that actually I'm so fallen, I deserve to suffer more. But by the grace of Krishna, my suffering has been minimized. And when we're enjoying, when we're happy and very comfortable, we should think, I don't deserve so much. I don't deserve all of this luxury and comforts, but Krishna's just encouraging me. Just like Sudama Brahman, the great devotee of Lord Krishna, he was Krishna's school friend. Then he went to Dwarka to see Krishna, and he met in Dwarka, and then Sudama came back again, and he came back and he saw his home was all transformed. That previously their home had been in very poor condition. But when he came back, he saw so much opulence, everything was changed. So Sudama, actually he liked to be poor. And he was always in that mood of renunciation and being poverty-stricken, and he was comfortable like that. And he didn't like the opulence. And Krishna gave him the opulence. You take it, you have to have it. And so he accepted it all in the mood of renunciation, but not in the mood of enjoyment, but in the mood of renunciation. So like that, when we have problems, something's going wrong, we should recognize that somehow Krishna's put me into this situation. We have to tolerate it. What to do? We have to tolerate. But let me go on in devotional service. Tatena kampam sushamikshamana punjana evatma kritam vipakam rigvagvapabir vivadan namaste jiveta yomukti pade sadaya bhak. One who tolerates all the adverse conditions and goes on engaging in devotional service with body, mind and words, then he becomes qualified to become my unalloyed devotee. So toleration, we should tolerate adverse conditions. We don't have to be telling Krishna, oh Krishna, do something about this. No, no, no. Krishna is the supreme controller. You don't have to be pleading to Krishna, oh Krishna, why don't you do something about this? We have to tolerate, we have to think, this is Krishna's arrangement for me, to purify me, to take away my attachments, or to bring me more in Krishna, to bring me forward in Krishna consciousness, to let me give up my attachments. Everybody, many people offer prayers, and that, you know, they're offering prayers. Usually they have a big list of what they want. So Krishna hears these prayers, but he hears these prayers every day. So many people will come and offer these kind of prayers. But he's more attracted to hear the prayers of the pure devotees. When the pure devotees offer prayers, then it's more meaningful to him, he's more appreciative of that. So we should try to pray and cultivate that mood of the pure devotees. Of course, you could say, is it imitating? Well, imitation of a good thing is required. Imitation of a good thing is required. Maybe you could say it's imitation, but it's a good thing. We should imitate the good things. Right? Imitation, we can't imitate Krishna. You know, Krishna had 16,108 wives. You cannot imitate that. But you can be a householder, you can be married, you can have a wife, that's following the example. Follow the example. We say, don't imitate. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki.
मोसमापतिता प्रभु न पैबे आर आहा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपावलोकन करो यमी बड़ दुखी दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई तब कृपा बले पाय चैतन्य निताय हा स्वरूप सनातना रूप रघुनाथ भट्ट जुग श्री जीव प्रभु लोकनाथ दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे चैतन्य जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा माई जय सुदर्शन जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद।
यशोमती नंदन व्रजवर नागर यशोमती यशोमती नंदन व्रजवर नागर यशोमती गोकुल रंजन काना गोकुल रंजन गाना गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर गोपी परन कालिया दमन विधान कालिया दमन अमल हरि नाम अमिया विलास अमल हरि नाम अमिया विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर बोरा विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर बोरा वंशी बदन सुवासा जन पालन असुर कुल नाशन भज जन पालन असुर नंद गोदन रखवाला गोविंद माधव नवनीत तशकर गोविंद सुंदर नंद गोपाल सुंदर नंद गोपाल यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हर यमुना तट रास रसिक कृपा मोया रास रसिक कृपा मोया श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन भक्ति विनोदाशाय भक्ति विनोदाशाय यशोमती नंदन ब्रज जर नागर यशोमती नंदन ब्रज हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada.